Sakura Wars is a continuation of a franchise that has been dormant since its predecessor, Sakura My Love, came out in Japan in 2005, though it didn't see an international release until 2010. Since so much time has passed, it makes sense to me that Sakura Wars 2019 has a fairly low barrier to entry for newcomers, like me, who are drawn to its anime-inspired visuals and hot giant mech-on-demon action. When I first saw the trailer for the game, it immediately hit all the right buttons. Taking place in a reimagined steampunk version of Japan, and starring a theater troupe of pretty anime girls who battle monsters in giant robot suits, and also put on elaborate productions for the populace to boost their morale during a time of crisis. I salivated over the potential for player engagement, both in its action and story, only to find out that Sakura Wars is really just a slickly produced visual novel where the story and character interactions supersede any kind of engaging interactive micromanagement. This new entry in the Sakura Wars series takes place 10 years after the events that caused the near total destruction of Japan. The demons that attacked the city have been pushed back, and with Tokyo on the rise, things seem to be looking pretty calm and peaceful, except for the occasional demon incursion. Seijo Kamiyama, our protagonist, has been transferred to the city to lead the Grand Imperial Review, a theater that serves as the base of operations for the Tokyo Flower Division, a group of young women trained to fight the demon menace, but also practice artists who perform dramas in an elaborate and elegant theater. Kamiyama has his work cut out for him because the Grand Imperial Review has fallen on hard times. The actresses, though willful and determined, don't perform on stage all that well, and that has earned them a so bad they're funny type of reputation. The women of the Tokyo Flower Division are a little rough around the edges, but they have lots of heart, including Sakura Amamiya, who is a childhood friend of Kamiyama and has big, passionate dreams of following in her mentor's footsteps. In charge of this operation is Miss Kanzaki, the main character in previous Sakura Wars adventures, and she delights in putting Kamiyama on the spot to find ways to keep the theater afloat. The player takes the reins as Kamiyama, and like any anime harem comedy worth its salt, interacting with the female members of the Tokyo Flower Division is the primary focus of the adventure. The game itself is largely a visual novel, and every so often you'll be prompted to make dialogue choices that affect how much the cast grows to like you. Throughout the course of the game's 7 chapters, you'll encourage and help these women grow and eventually have the option to romance them and achieve one of several different lovey-dovey endings. Kamiyama's tenure as captain of the group will see him leading them to greatness as they train to compete in a world tournament with other combat reviews for a multi-day contest that tests their strength and artistic abilities. Along the way, they'll take breaks to go on dates, get into silly mishaps, and fight evil demons. All of this sounded absolutely fantastic to me. What's not to love about leading a group of cute anime ladies into combat and professional revelry? If all of this sounds like an anime, that's because the developers have gone to some lengths to make it look and feel like one, right down to the chapter breaks that highlight scenes from upcoming chapters as a sort of next time on Sakura Wars. It claims numerous anime tropes at every turn, from melodramatic inner struggles that only true friendship and love can resolve, and characters that fit way too comfortably into long-established molds like the tsundere, the tomboy, the quiet loner, and that one haunted by a family legacy. Classic staples of the genre, such as comedic mix-ups, misunderstandings, the occasional peeping, and heartfelt declarations of love, permeate every inch of this game, making it resemble that one anime you saw that one time on Crunchyroll. As a blend of dating sims and visual novels, the gameplay is dedicated to wandering around the Imperial Theater and nearby locations to interact with a growing cast of characters. Mission objectives typically involve running from one area to another to track down someone and hold a conversation with them and assist with whatever problem or concern they might have. While I hold no grudges against visual novels, overall I'm disappointed that Sakura Wars limits interactivity. There really isn't much to do that doesn't involve clicking through dialogue screens beyond those few moments where you have to make a dialogue choice within a short period of time. Sakura Wars' LIP system, which stands for Live and Interactive Picture, lets you pick from 2 to 3 phrases that can have an effect on the person Kamiyama is speaking to. He can either be nice, neutral, or deliver a line that's lewd, mean-spirited, and rude. In the heat of the moment, the analog lip system lets you set the intensity of a single phrase, usually one that the characters scream at the start of a fight or lend special weight to during intimate encounters. The mechanic makes for silly situations, unintentional or not, especially with the analog iteration given that you're free to provide a very low energy rallying cry. Using lips builds or reduces trust with the characters, and the stronger feelings they have towards you, the greater the chance of unlocking a tete-a-tete. These are scenes presented through Kamiyama's eyes, and it's your chance to engage a character somewhat romantically, talking through their various reservations and worries by commenting on them or certain objects in Kamiyama's periphery. Oh right, there's combat. When the plot demands it, the Tokyo Flower Division gets called into battle to fight off small hordes of demons that threaten the citizens of Tokyo. Demon invasions can occur on the streets outside the theater and nearby markets, or within alternate dimensions, where the characters must make their way across hellish landscapes and fight through hordes of monsters to reach a boss-like creature. Whatever the case may be, you'll lead the charge as Kamiyama and one of the Flower Division girls in a light, third-person hack-and-slash sequence that's just fine. The practice of hacking monsters with giant swords and energy weapons until their life meters are depleted is neither mediocre nor spectacular. When transported to the Demon Realm, the characters run through a light linear maze with large arenas that must be cleared out before the path forward is opened. Both ground and air-based creatures will try to take you down, though they never feel altogether threatening. Some foes require a little finesse, like attacking them from unarmored sides, a task that's really easy to accomplish because of how often your partner draws aggro. The characters you fight with are equipped with their own variant of light and heavy attacks that fit their style and personality, which gives them a great sense of identity in a relatively bland battlefield. Constantly attacking foes eventually allows a character to perform a devastating power attack that has enough energy to wipe out an entire room of low-level grunts. Dodging attacks is easy enough, just move your mech out of the way. However, waiting until the last possible minute to engage that sliding dodge maneuver right before the attack hits will slow time down to a crawl and give you the chance to strike enemies while at full speed. The exceptionalism of side characters in battle can be influenced through Kamiyama's interactions with them during the visual novel segment of the game. High trust boosts their initial combat morale at the start of the encounter, giving them an offensive and defensive edge that would normally develop during the fight. Raise their trust even further, and there's a good chance they'll start combat with an active team attack option that grants brief invulnerability and drastically increased damage. Combat in Sakura Wars is pretty straightforward and no nonsense, and at best it serves as a decent break from sitting through lengthy dialogue scenes.
隊長さん、こっちも終わったぜ。生徒のみんなにも被害はなしだ。私たちもやればできるんですね。ちょっとみんな本当にお疲れ様。神山くん、さあ戦いは終わりよ。雨宮さんたちも帝劇に戻ってきてちょうだい。
Though the combat is rather basic, that's not what makes me feel disappointed with Sakura Wars. It's that there's ultimately so little for the player to do. Franchise fans may come at me and say that the series has always been like this, but for someone who got hooked by a trailer, I wanted so much more out of my time with the Tokyo Flower Division. After all, there's so much potential. As captain of the team, I wanted to have more influence on managing the facility and find a way to pump money into different services and improvements that would boost its standing against other troops, like their Shanghai Division rivals. Or what about implementing upgrades to the combat mechs? I wouldn't mind farming for ingredients left behind by demons to craft upgrades or cosmetics. I can see opportunities for increased player engagement in a lot of different areas, and I often felt frustrated by the inability to do more. Sakura Wars knows exactly what it wants to be, and all things considered, it does them well enough. It does what a visual novel is supposed to do by giving you plenty of opportunities to interact with the anime girls cut from way too familiar molds and eventually pick a romantic ending with one of them. Hey, replayability. Combat is fine and functional, offering enough of a distraction from the constant back and forth that makes up the adventure portion of the story. That is bound to be perfectly fine to those that have a passion and patience for the genre, and I'm sure they'll enjoy what Sakura Wars has to offer. I just wish there was more to see and do in what amounts to be a Jules Verne-inspired version of a Jazz-Age Japan. I desperately wanted to break away from the confining linearity of it all. There's a lot of artificiality here, from vendors who sell you items despite there being no currency, the reuse of still images in the story segments, and the lack of any meaningful upgrades or additional moves to use during fights with demons. For all of its flash and flare, Sakura Wars doesn't go far enough beyond its reach. Though, again, for fans of this series, they may not mind that. Darkstation gives Sakura Wars 3.5 stars.
人気作家だなんて。おい、何やってんだよ。勝利のポーズ、いくぞ。クラリス、決め台詞、しっかりかましてくれよ。私ですか？
最後のセリフは大切よ。しっかりね。
わかりました。物語こそ力の源。どんな時も自分の物語を信じます。せーの、勝利のポーズ、決め。